All right, so the sciencealert.com headline says, new study reveals the reason teens seem to tune out their mom's voice. Is there really science behind this behavior? Well, let's hear what licensed clinical psychologist Dr. Kai Morgan has to say about this. Morning, Dr. Kai. Welcome to Smile Jamaica. Hope you're well.
Morning, greetings. I am well.
Well, I don't think my mother did read science.com because when she tell you something, she not only make sure you hear, you have to repeat it to ensure that you heard. So I don't think she did read it. But is there anything to this thing that we're talking about now that teens actually tune out mom and dad?
I read it. I read that that piece, and I do think that there is some truth in it, because if you understand like how the waves and sound waves work, you can get accustomed to a particular wave. You know, I had a sister when we were younger, and she used to always love to stand beside the beatbox, to stand beside the sound when we went anywhere. And I swear she was attuned to it, you know, whereas others couldn't. So I can understand the science behind that, behind getting attuned to a certain level, a certain pitch, right?
Yeah.
And therefore not responding to it in the same way.
Yeah. As parents, do we run the risk of just saying the same thing over and over again? And after a while, them just say, sure. Yeah, man, me hear, as you just said, we kind of hear that already. So while mama talk, me I walk about my business because I know what she's going to say. Is that
Right.
is that one of the things?
That's one of the things, because then that what is being said is also being said in the same way, you know? How much time I tell you? You know,
Yeah.
go and pick up your clothes,
Yeah.
go and bathe, go, whatever it is, and it's said in a similar tone, similar inflection, you know, the pitch is there, so it kind of becomes again like monotonous, right?
But what is this notion about the mother's voice as opposed to the father's voice? I find this interesting.
Yes, I did too, and I think it has to do with, you know, the level, the kind of pitch that women use. I think it's also attunement to the voice from in utero coming, you know, all the time, right? All the time, and really and truly, a lot of it, there could be some cultural things to it as well. Because a lot of times the mother is the one that is speaking a lot, and those repetitive things, just like the example that Neville just gave, you know, the mother is the one, you know, father might come in after a little while, you know, after maybe mother is frustrated, another voice might come in, and maybe this is behind some of the reason that dad might have a different impact when he now comes in. Mama said it like 600 times,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then dad jumps in and he says, boy, or, you know,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
girl
That
child,
makes
whatever.
a lot of sense,
And so,
Doc.
right, his tone is not as, like, it hasn't been over and over and over and over.
Yeah. If what we are saying has any truth to it, are there any suggestions to a mother, to a father, that when you're talking to a child, if you want them to really hear what you say and understand, this is what you do? Are there any suggestions there?
Definitely, like just like what you said your mom did, Neville, right? So orient you to what it is that you're talking about. So, okay, look at me. What did I just say? Right? Repeat what I just said. So that kind of thing, that helps. It also helps for the parents. I mean, when you're managing your own anger, your own frustration, really, right? Then you can shift the pitch in your own voice, right? So instead of screaming it or shouting it the way that you normally do, shift the pitch. You know, some people you've probably heard like when they say, okay, one, right? And when you start counting like that, you know, you've shifted everything. You stop talking now, and it's no, you stop the talking, and you've said, okay, you're hearing me now, because now my pitch has also changed. And usually when we count in the 1, 2, 3, we're level, you know, so it becomes like a deeper pitch, and it goes 1, you know, 2, and the child is already aware that at 3, this is the last.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
I'm here. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you're doing in my house. But anyway, do we have a notion as to whether this is more with boys or girls, young boys, young girls, who is doing the more of the tuning out? Or would you try to hazard some kind of educated opinion?
Yeah, I could. Yes, I could guess. I could guess about that, because what we do find is that boys tend to not be as responsive to that quote unquote nagging high pitch, right? They tune out more easily to it, right? So they're not about you pitched on to shrieking, and they are more likely to tune out to it,
Yep.
right? Because of the pitches that men have and women have or can attune to or are more susceptible or receptive to.
Yeah.
I would hazard a guess that boys would tune out a little more easily.
Yeah. Dr. Kai, is also one of the problems that we say things that the kids know that we're just not going to do. I mean, my kids' mom used to say, I'm going to knock off your head, you know. Well, they kind of know they're not going to knock off their head. Is that one of the issues? We say something that them just know, say, yeah, I mean, who going to knock off?
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, is that one of the issues?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Neville, because, you know, we need to, the consequence that comes, right?
Yeah.
It has to be, usually we try to kind of make it realistic and we make it happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We make it so that they know that we're serious,
Yeah.
you know, and it's reason why the 1, 2, 3 works and all of that is because when they hear that pitch, they know that you're serious and something is going to occur next. Right?
What about the mother in Dr. Kai? How does she operate?
Mm-hmm. Say that again.
What about the mother, Dr. Morgan, the mother? How much head you lick off so far?
I haven't licked off any heads yet. Right?
But how do you, in a serious way, how do you get them to understand what you mean and you mean it now and they must do it right now? What's your style?
My pitch does change, you know, because I start off very softly. Generally, I'm just like, you know, all right, I have my nicknames for all of them, you know. So Zaipai, did you do that X? Did you pick up that, etc. And then I'm gonna give you a few. I'm a little bit impatient. I'm a little bit because personally for me, when I'm going to do something, I do it like right away because either I'm going to forget or something is going to happen. So I try my best. That doesn't always happen, but I try my best to do that. And so I might go back in like 5-10 minutes or less to repeat, and I may repeat it. And then I may do it a third time. But after that, then my pitch is going to change completely. My tone, everything, my face, my demeanor, my stance, everything is going to change. And then I'm going to say it in a much firmer manner, you know, much firmer, because my voice gets very like short and staccato, you know.
Final question from me, Kai. This article says when teens appear to be rebelling by not listening to their parents is because they're wired to pay more attention to voices outside their home. That makes me very nervous as a mother. What do you tell parents now within that context as to how to really reach their kids to mitigate against whatever garbage they may hear outside?
Yes. This is a very important point because we do have to orient, especially our adolescents or teenagers who are beginning to kind of to have other influences, and as you mentioned. And so it's important that the word connection, the word attachment, we've been attaching all along, and we have to figure out how we're going to maintain that attachment. So we have to really look at our adolescents, look at our teens, and look at what it is that they like, what are their interests, how can we bond with them, what are the ways that we can find, what are the things, the commonalities that we can find so that we can keep that link. So not that we don't want them to have friends and all of that, but there also must be this sense that, you know, okay, I can come and talk to mommy, I can talk to daddy, I can talk to granny, auntie, whoever it is, about this. Something happened, I can mention this, etc. And that you're more oriented actually to the parent, to the family, than you are to the friends.
Yep.
You know, because as much as we identify that as a teenage thing, right? It's not something to be taken lightly. It's something that we still want them to be connected and attached to the family of origin.
Yeah, ma'am. Great thoughts. Thanks for sharing. God bless you and your family. Stay safe. Happy Labor Day.
Thanks.
All right?
Thanks, Kai.
Thank you.
All right. Licensed clinical psychologist, Dr. Kai Morgan.
That's it for today's Child Month segment.